Okay, this is the last installment for the 7.1 to 7.6 review for Algebra 2, and it covers problems 36 through 43. All right, we're going to start with some problems that you have to solve for the value of x, and your first goal here is to get the square root by itself. So you'll see me, first of all, add 6 on this problem, and then divide by 2, and that does that for that goal. We've got the square root all by itself. Now, to get rid of the square root, you square both sides, and you get your answer of 144, and you should check this by plugging it back in the original problem. You can do that easily by storing the value of 144 for the value of x, and once you do that, then you can just type this to see if it equals 18. All right, on the next problem, we have to get the 2x out of the way so that the square root is by itself. And then we'll square both sides. Now, when you square that right-hand side where it says 2x, you have to realize you're squaring the whole side, not just the x. So that becomes a 4x squared. And it's quadratic, so you have to pull everything over to one side and make it equal to 0. And then you'll factor that side. And once you have it factored, you can set the factors equal to 0. Checking tells us that the -5 answer is false or extraneous, so you label it as extraneous, EXTR. Okay, on example 38, we've got the 14 that we have to get over to the other side. So I took that and subtracted it off both sides. Once you've got your square root by itself, that's when you square both sides. Don't fall into the trap of thinking that x minus 14 squared just distributes that squaring. It doesn't. You have to multiply x minus 14 times x minus 14, which gives that middle term of -28 when you FOIL it out. All right, put everything on one side and factor. And when you set your factors equal to 0 on this problem, you have to check it. And one of the answers works, the 19. But the other answer fails, so we label 10. That answer is extraneous. All right, the next problem is very similar to it. We're going to subtract 3 from both sides and then square it once you've got your square root by itself. The way to handle this part here is to write x minus 3 times x minus 3, and then you multiply across the top, first times first, outside, inside, and last, and you collect your like terms. So that's how we got that -6x in the middle there. Okay, once you have that, you have to take everything over to one side so that you get your 0 that you need, and then you factor. Set your factors equal to 0, and once again, only one of the two answers actually works. The 2 in this case is extraneous. Okay, we have a different set of instructions. This is from section 7.6. And what we're going to do here on this first problem is use these definitions that are given up here for f of x and g of x to find f minus g of x. Now, f minus g of x is simply the first function f minus the second function g. So you can see I've got it set up here where the first function is the f of x, and I'm subtracting the other one from it. Pretty important that you use parentheses, otherwise you'll forget to distribute the negative sign. And let me highlight the two places where that makes a difference. That's a minus, and this is a plus because we distributed the negative sign that was in front of that first parentheses. Okay, so then collect your like terms to finish that out. And f minus g of x turns out to be this expression, -3x squared minus 7x plus 6. A similar problem, except now it's f times g of x, but it's actually got a value of 6 that we're going to plug in. So this is f of 6 times g of 6 is what that means. So when you plug 6 into this function, you'll get 3 times 6 minus 2, and that gives 16. And when you plug 6 into the other one, so in other words, you put a 6 in here and you put a 6 in there, you get 160 as a result. Multiplying those gives 2,560. Okay, I've written the functions that we're using in green down here so we don't forget what they are when I scroll down here. G circle F is read Goff. So we're doing Goff of 5, which means that we're going to plug in, well, here's what it means. G of f of 5. So you find the inside amount first, f of 5, and then once you have that, you plug that result into G and find that. So we're going to do f of 5. 3 times 5 minus 2 turns out to be 13. And then you take that 13 and plug it in the other function, which I've written over here again. And so you're going to go 3 times 13 squared plus 10 times 13 minus 8. And when you do all the number crunching, that's 629. Okay, on the next one, we're supposed to turn it around and do Goff, but we don't have a number to plug in. It's just Goff of x. And, Fog of x, F-O-G instead of G-O-F. In this case, you're going to put G inside of F. And so you start by writing out the function G, and then that becomes the input. So this amount is going to go right there into the other function. And when you do that, you get 3 times that expression minus 2, and distribute and simplify. And so that does it for this review and those examples, 36 through 43. All right, hope these videos have helped you.